Empty the chamber on them. And how do you do that? First 6 seconds, point A to point B, everything you got. Everything you got. Turn that shit up. Let's go.
Welcome to the Scoop World Order. It is Tuesday. It is Bloody Tuesday at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. This is the hardest practice of the week. And we have the hardest opponent that we've seen thus far in the 2022 schedule. We have the Wisconsin Badgers coming to town. This is going to be a huge weekend. Keon Keeley is committed to come in. He's a 5-star defensive end from Tampa. We have a ton of big commits coming in for this one. This is going to be a big one. This is going to be a massive game. I think Wisconsin is a very good opponent. They always are difficult to go against. They have a superstar at tailback in Braylon Allen. And I think that this is going to be something where Jim Knowles is really going to earn his check this week because he's got to be ready to stop that running game. They haven't really played anybody. They had a disappointing loss to Washington State, which I think was kind of a flukish type loss. I think they kind of walked into a fist fight there. But I know they always play us hard. I know that they're going to be jazzed up, ready to go in the horseshoe. And of all the teams that I hate other than Michigan, Wisconsin's right at the top. So it's going to be go time on Saturday night. With that being said, as always, we are thankful for you guys. We're grateful for you guys. Thank you so much for your patronage to the channel. We love all the love we get in the comments. Comment, what do we need to do to beat the Wisconsin Badgers on Saturday? And what player needs to step up? Is it our defensive tackles? Is it our interior offensive line? Who needs to step up? Give me the names. I need to know. And also, shout out where you're from. I love that. I got a ton of comments the one time I did that. People were from all over the world, literally. We have people that are deployed in Afghanistan. We have people that are in South Korea. We have people in Alaska. Obviously, a ton of people in Ohio. Shout out where you're from. Leave that in the comments down below. Appreciate you guys. And leave a like on this video. You guys are the best. That being said, I'm going to bring in my compadre, TJ Downing, one of the great guards in Ohio State history. My running mate when I was playing at Ohio State. TJ, how are you today?
Good, man. What's going on, Scoop World?
We are, we're grinding along. We get that Notre Dame game done. We had a couple of cupcakes, and now we're on to the big, bad Wisconsin Badgers. TJ, I know that you watched the Toledo game. Give me your initial thoughts on the game. Obviously, it was 77-21. It wasn't much of a contest. But, what did you like about what Ohio State was able to get done versus Toledo? And where do they need to improve from your vantage point?
Well, the first thing that kind of sticks out to me is the one thing I spoke about a lot on our previous podcast, which is I wanted to see Jaden Ballard get into the deal. And he did that in the second half. I think he averaged like 28 yards a catch, got into the end zone, got a couple balls thrown his way, got targeted. I think he's a guy that as the season rolls along, you want to get him involved in the deal because you're going to have guys that are going to go down. We've already seen what's happened with Jackson Smith and Jigba. You lose him. Who's going to be the next guy to step up? Is it going to be Julian Fleming? Is it going to be Igbuka? We know that those dudes can play. They can ball. But when you go to those empty sets, when, looking back at this past week, when a guy like Henderson kind of steps aside for a little while here, and you get Hayden that comes in and has a 100-yard rushing game. I mean, this is big. And when you talk about cupcakes, I understand that you have to do things like this in the beginning of the season. I love the fact that you keep the money in state, versus Arkansas State compared to Toledo. Let's rep our own home state guys. But it's good to be able to build depth against these teams. And, hey, Notre Dame wasn't able to do that against Marshall. We were able to do that against Toledo, so that's good. It's good to see, with Pryor going down in training camp, with Henderson kind of stepping to the side in this ball game, who's going to be a third, fourth running back down on that depth chart. And I think we found that. That's a good thing to have. It's a good thing to know for the coaches and this offensive staff. Also, for, again, Jaden Ballard, he's a guy that when it comes time, when you get your number called, you have to be prepared to go. And you and I both been there, Kirk. Practice is practice. Game is game. It's a different feeling. You can make catches and you can get reps in practice, and that equates to what's going to happen on Saturday, but it's not the same as doing it in between the white lines when the biggest lights are on, when millions of people are watching on TV. I think that was a huge positive for Jaden Ballard and Hayden.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that, there's guys that they have to get into the game. They have to prove they can do it under the white or under the, the bright lights. They need to prove that they can do it when they don't know what kind of coverage they're going to get or defense they're going to get because, obviously you go against the scout team. The scout team is taught to give a certain look that they're projecting, but that doesn't always happen. And I always felt like, with games, there's that that anxiety and that pressure of, if you do make a mistake, if you do drop a ball or you do miss a block or you do throw a pick or miss a tackle, like the whole world sees it. So,
Yep.
there's some guys that can't handle that pressure. It's different. It's tough. I always used to joke that, for 120 guys, that are playing for Ohio State, like the game is like, it's like their whole world, especially the 30 or so that actually play a significant role in the game, where everybody else in the games is a big party. It's just a big, drink, eat, have fun, whatever, order, carry out, and it's a big party. But for the guys that are actually in there, man, it is, you don't want to be that guy that has that massive Ryan Hamby kind of mistake or that drop or that whatever. And that's something that's always in the back of your mind. Like, I didn't want to give up a sack fumble that cost us the game. And can that happen? Sure. I mean, anything can happen in college football. And that's the extra layer that you deal with when you're actually in practice. So with that being said, I am going to roll us into the first drive. I'd love to get some of your thoughts on some things starting this thing off. So this is the first drive. I'm going to break down a couple plays from here. This is the initial 2x2 set that we had with CJ and Cade Stover and these guys. I'd love your thoughts on Cade Stover. He's a guy that I love. He's a guy that I think really has done a nice job to start the season. TJ, what are your thoughts on Cade thus far through our first 3 games?
Big walnut coming out of Sunbury, baby. Big
Mhm.
Cade. No, I love it. How I feel about the tight end in the offensive scheme. I think he's a guy that, you can create mismatches. It was great to see him have 3 receptions for 83 yards. Tight ends can exploit defenses. When everybody's focused on the big time skill guys out there, the speed guys that are going to stretch the field, CJ Stroud is smart enough, and you have to be, especially if you want to show your worth and your wear to these NFL scouts, which CJ is, you have to know where your dump off or your check down is. And Cade Stover's that type of guy. He's an athlete. He can move around well in space. He has great hands. He's physical. He can block at the point of attack. I love what number 8 brought to the table for us, man. Cade Stover is going to continue to get more looks his way because of this game. So going into Big Ten play, that's huge for him. I think the way he meshes well with tackles, you're an All-American offensive tackle, Kirk. It's not just about the work that you do with the offensive guard next to you.
Mhm.
You have to be on the same page with your tight ends and those blocking schemes, whether it's a chip, whether it's a combo block, and they might be a little bit lighter in the pants than we are, even though I had them little tiny legs, But those tight ends, it's different working blocks with them, especially on some zone stuff. And I think with Cade Stover, he's got the respect of both tackles, and I think that there's going to be some good things coming down the line. You're going to need that starting Big Ten play.
Yeah, I think he's as good of a tight end as we've had since Ricky Dudley. I think he's a guy that runs a legit 4.6-ish, 4.58 type guy. His routes have gotten better, and that might just be my opinion, but when Ryan Day and Kevin Wilson are scheming up plays for him, they're saying the same thing I am, because they wouldn't be scheming up plays for him. So this is the first play of the game. This is an RPO, which is a run pass option. And honestly, I think CJ would have been fine if he handed this off. You see Paris has a great hand here. He's got his guys locked down. I like the look of this combo to start off, get these guys bagged up. And then you've got, they're in an odd front. These 2 taken, Cade's taken. So if you hand this to Trey, I think this thing squirts out to the safeties. Again, when they're going to run too high, I think we need to run the ball because they just don't have enough guys, especially if we ever actually do any read stuff. But, but we end up throwing the out, and again, I'm never upset when you're trying to get, a guy like Jackson Smith and Jigba involved. It's his first play of the game, or excuse me, that's in Mecca. Let CJ get that first throw out of the way. Nice, easy throw. There's a huge cushion there. Mecca runs a great route, easy catch, easy 8 yards. TJ,
that's the type of look you want to run that ball into, though, man. You got 5 on 5. I love what the right guard does too, because I wouldn't say that starting off this was a great job by Dwan, but Jones comes back and he goes flat back to his right. So he's able to keep that guy that's at that left defensive end position as he's starting to pinch here. The right guard kind of peels back flat down the line of scrimmage and gives his tackle some help, man. I mean, because that right there, DeWanda's got it started, but he gives up a little bit of penetration. I mean, it's a stalemate at the line of scrimmage. If he hands the ball off right here, it's going to be made or not off of what the right guard does. And obviously the linebacker just takes himself out of position.
Yeah, and this is kind of a new wrinkle that we never really saw anything like this when we played, but this is like a way that teams are combating the RPO, where essentially, you pinch. This is a 3-down look. There's a 0 nose. You've got your 2 outside 5 techniques, and you have your stand up. This is like a jack, what Jack Sawyer plays for us when we run this odd defense. But it's real interesting. So they're gaming this way, fold over, and this linebacker who we'd call they call him a will linebacker. He actually inserts and carries the C gap, and the jack waits and actually, they kind of replace. It's like a gap replace scheme here. So it's real interesting to see how they do that. It's just a way to mess with blocking schemes. But I thought, again, like this,
look at Cade with his athletic ability. He's able to take that jack, and he's kind of on his back right there, but he ends up getting square on him. So if that thing's handed off, it's still going to pop.
Yeah, I mean, he could wind this thing right back here, and he's splitting the safeties, and there's no guarantee that this guy's going to be able to tackle Trey Henderson when Trey's got a full head of steam. But it's a good scheme by Toledo, which again, they gave up 77 points, but I think that's more just because of a lack of athletic ability on their defense more so than the scheme. Because this is almost an incompletion, potentially a sack. He's right at CJ, but again, CJ gets rid of that ball fast, so it doesn't end up mattering. So we're gonna get to the second play real quick. And again, I love, so Ryan Day starts the game off in the 3 wide receiver. You get the 3 guys get the start with Marvin Harrison, Emeka, and Jackson Smith and Jigba. And he immediately goes to his beloved 2 tight end look where he brings in Mitch Rossi and Cade. So that makes these guys on defense. Vince Karras, the former Mount Union coach, he has to match personnel. They go to a 3 linebacker look, which I'm guessing this is probably the strong safety playing linebacker now. Trying to match up, and they love doing this condensed for that looks like that's a Mecca. That's 11 there. So, they do this condensed look where they split him down, really load up on this side. And again, this is something, this is not get blocked as well as we'd like. I think that Cade is a little soft here.
Center.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. The center. Yeah. Luke Whippler has a tough go here. I mean, he's like basically hold on to his nuts trying to not give up penetration. But yeah, center got graded down on this. Side.
Although they blow that 3 technique off the ball so hard that it's almost impossible to get the linebackers. He folds to the backside. But, for me, I was talking to Vince Karras. I said, I was able to kind of cover him exclusively for a lot of years over 2 national championships that he won at Mount Union. I said, man, you ain't had no schemes like this at Ohio State, man. You walking into the big show this time. He was laughing. Yeah. He said, but this is why he came there to Toledo. He wanted his shot at the big time, the Division I level. And, for the early part of that game, I give them credit what they did right here. I mean, you're pushing a center into the backfield. DeJuan Jones, the play before, you would expect him outweighing that defensive end by 30, 40 pounds to blow him off the ball. And those, they held their own for a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. I think that this is really, really tough by the guard and tackle. Again, you look at Donovan Jackson here, you get a nice start. And again, like when I was a tackle and we're running a play like this, this is just a front side zone play. This is basically duo, which is, we ran that against Michigan State my senior year. I don't think we ran that much in 06, but it's power with no pulls essentially. So you got 2 double teams working up. This is just an easy man block. But to me, when I had a front side double team, and this is something that's different in the spread era, I was never looking to come off the down guy ever. Like, I mean, unless that guy like slanted or did something where I couldn't get any surface on him. My job was to kill that guy, and then you had to work on getting up to the linebacker. But this is something that's a little different now. Is you got to be a little bit more vertical here because this looks like at this point, this looks like an A+ perfect combination block because you have these 2 guys working here. But, when PJ's buried in here, and again, I think PJ's doing a great job because he's the guy who's kind of like, the guard on this play is the guy, he kind of sets it up and then the tackle has to like knock it down and make the punch, which again, that's just, you're really good at setting up the combos because, like, you got to get the guy lifted with your inside arm, and then I got to come in and kill the guy. So that was kind of like the gig. And, but when he backdoors you here, this is really hard because I don't know how you tell Paris Johnson to come off this guy when he's got the full surface and Donnie just kind of has that outside shoulder. because if PJ comes off on this guy's going to fall right here and make the play. So it's
Yep.
again, it's a tough look. It's good by the linebacker. Again, you're not going to be perfect in all this. The linebacker ends up making the play. So I don't know. I just think that's a hard look because when you're getting that much push, I mean, you're literally getting 2-3 yards of push within a second. Like that's really tough. And again,
the only thing you can really do as the left guard is try to push back through that defensive tackle and really just wash everything into that linebacker. Because like you said, I mean, PJ's head is buried into that thing right now. So as fast as this linebacker scrapes backside, he's not going to see it. So it's up to the guard, and you can see, here's the deal about double teams in this look right here. You have to be on the same plane. These two are not on the same plane. One's behind the other. So for Donnie, he's out in front, and it's going to be almost impossible for him to push back through. If he would have maybe taken a little flat step inside and kind of done that lift technique, it would have allowed time for PJ to get on the same plane as him, and then they can push back towards that linebacker. Impossible to do here.
Yeah, and to me, it's a lot easier to sit this when me and you're sitting in office chairs doing a podcast than it is to do this in real time. But I totally agree. If Donnie, again, this is a learning thing. He's a really, really talented second-year guy. If he could somehow push this here, and again, the thing that really, screws the play up is Luke. Luke's not good here. He gives up penetration, so this really makes it cloudy. If he could just hold him here on the blue line, if Donnie can push this and kind of get this mushed back over here, and Luke could just hold him here, there's a huge crease right up the gut. With this guy, inserting here, he's going to be out of it. He's not going to be quick enough to be able to stop, plant, catch Trey Henderson with a full head of steam. So basically, you're onto this guy. You're onto the one safety. And again, this is because I mean we got it blocked up. I mean, this is a tough block for Jackson Smith and Jigba. So Trey tries to do the best he can. So again, it's just I think the penetration and really give credit to the defense. Like that linebacker made a great play backdooring that when he saw his guy getting double teamed, and something we can learn from. I think so. I'll do maybe one or two more plays. Again, we could.
And the last thing you want to do if you're Jackson Smith and Jigba just coming back from injury is start sticking your nose down into the box to have to make those blocks and risk somebody falling into the side of your knee. Like, just keep him away from those situations.
I totally agree. And I this is another thing I love. So we bring in Marvin. So Marvin is significantly bigger than any receiver we have. He's a monster. And, you kind of even up the looks with the double wing. You still have you have Cade and Mitch Rossi to the field side. And, again, like Marvin, he does the best he can, kind of gets in the way. And, I think that DeJuan is wrong here. He needs to be climbing here. Again, it's the same play. Yes. It's the no pull power. It's the duo play. And, again, I think that this is, Mitch Rossi soft here. I think Cade and PJ, they get a good look. But, again, this is tough because, PJ is basically playing what the guard did last time and setting it up. And Cade's got to get the push here. But, this guy's firing, and I mean, PJ's got to come off and get that guy. And again, it's this is Trey. I mean, this is Trey. He's contacted here at the blue line, and he puts his head down and just goes and gets the first down. So again,
to me, I don't even understand why the right tackle would go out there though. That thing's hitting on like the AB hole over on the left side. I'm coming down with the guard, and I'm working up to that linebacker.
Yeah, I think that this is something where he had to have been confused by the look, and I think that he probably wasn't aware that the receiver had motioned in because he's behind him. This is something where, and DeJuan needs to get a 3-point here. I don't know why he's in a 2-point, other than he might not be able to get in a 3-point. But that's just whatever. But I don't think he realizes that Marvin's motioning in because he's just looking straight ahead. He can't really see him behind him unless Marvin gives him some sort of a signal. But really, I mean, if this is an optimal look, I mean, these two should be climbing up through here. He's got the hard block, versus the zero, trying to stay square. Or not zero, that's a shade. Him and Matt. But, again, Matt, they call this back. And again, this makes it really hard when these two are working back here as opposed to working up to here because,
right.
PJ has to come off really fast because as soon as this guy sees the two double teams, this guy's firing. And I mean, it really makes it hard on Cade. Cade is the guy that's fighting with all he can, and he does a great job here because, with blocking, something that a lot of people know is like stalemates. If there's a stalemate where two guys just basically run into each other, don't move, offense wins all stalemates. So, when Cade gets a stalemate here versus a defensive end, that's great. And he holds the line, he a lot of, he's running his legs, again, a lot of effort, a lot of toughness, and, gets us the first down. So we're going to break down one more. Go ahead.
Mitch just has to be a little bit stronger at the point of attack. You talk about a stalemate. I mean, they stay there right at the blue line, man, right at the line of scrimmage. If you get just a little bit more out of 34, if you can get him to push that guy across that blue line, you're going to have a better outcome. And like you said, I almost like seeing those guys maybe go back to the guy on the left hash mark and kind of work everybody back to the left instead of trying to work everybody to the right. But like you said, I mean, that's something where you got to have from right tackle over to left tackle, even outside of the tight end, everybody on the same page. It's hard to do, especially, there's no way that Toledo can come in here and play you straight up. So they're going to throw you jump, they're going to throw you stunts, they're going to throw you blitzes, they're going to walk guys down into the gap because that's all they can really. That's the only way they're going to be able to stay in the game.
Yeah, they're gonna run bear defense. They're gonna run about everything they can possibly do. And here this is just it's funny. This is so funny seeing like an old school underfront where it's a shade 6'9" to the field, and this is a shade. This is a 6. This is a 9 or shade 5'9", 5 technique, whatever you want to call it. I think Mitch's biggest problem is his first step. Steps under himself. You can see it. And like
and he kind of catches them. You see that arm. It's already extended, so you're just gonna catch. There's really no shock.
Yeah, and when your feet are like this, you kind of look like a bowling pin, and you're gonna get knocked back a little bit. So ideally, you'd want to take a nice flat. Right, dude. yeah, I know he's got to take like a nice zone step, and again, sometimes again, we weren't robots, so we weren't perfect, but sometimes you get all amped up because you have to get this block to make the play, and again, is it ever perfect? No, but the finish is great. He kind of seals it up there.
That's the word right there.
Yeah,
he finishes well.
He doesn't start off great, but his effort is outstanding, and he kind of seals them up right here, pushes them away from the pile. The guy's not in on the tackle. Again, when defensive guys clap after the play, that usually means that they screwed up. That means they got blocked or they jumped off sides or they did something stupid. So when a guy claps like that means that he got and he lost. So we'll do one more play here and we'll get you out of here because this thing will go for 6 hours. We're through 3 plays and we're at 22 minutes already. So we booked out the whole game. We'd probably be here till midnight. But again, it's all good. This is just another out route. Again, getting a Mecca when these guys are given the massive cushion. I mean, it is it's pretty easy.
That's easy, man. That's pitch and catch. Just take what defense gives you.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to the next one so we can get some run stuff, and then we'll be good to go. Give me 1 second. All right. Okay, so this is a good one. I actually broke this down with Nevada a little bit ago. Give me 1 second. Okay. This is a great one where you see they kind of scheme this up where they move Cade over. This is something they love doing. You do these little bubble screens, and I like when you put Cade in motion, he gets a little bit of a running start, so he can come up here and seal this thing up against another RPO, full zone action, reading the end. The end again. This is one I really think he could have handed this off because this end is playing.
Jim Bowman would have been screaming, "Hand that ball off" all day long because that's the look that you want, 5-on-5.
Well, I mean,
honestly, what you said earlier about DeJuan, is he not able to get into a 3-point?
I don't know. I mean, it's about as often as Christmas that I see him in a 3-point, and it's probably because he's so big.
First and 10, bro.
He's probably just more comfortable in the 2-point, but he is the king of the 2-point. I'll tell you.
That's great.
But when you and now people that are watching this are going to notice every time everyone else will be in a 3-point, DeJuan's up in a 2. And again,
let me tell you one thing about college football and the NFL. If you're not self-scouting yourself, you're going to get beat next week because your opponent, he should be watching every move you make. And you can see as you roll this forward a little bit, Kirk, I think he ends up crossing over his steps again. That's something. I mean, that I don't know why your body would want to be turned like that.
Well, I think that I don't think that the guard's great. I don't think Matt Jones is great here because he doesn't even touch the defensive tackle.
He leaves him hanging.
This is hard on DeJuan, and is DeJuan's footwork great? No, but I mean, I think that, Matt Jones, he really wants to get to this guy, but I mean, when the run is coming, basically in the 4 hole, or if he's, going to push you go out the edge, like, and you're working to this guy, you've got plenty of time. So I don't know why Matt is so worried about bailing, but
seriously, and then look, you see him, he's turning back looking for that linebacker. It's like, I mean, you and I would have been licking our chops at that look right there. Like, dude, we've blown that free technique off the ball. Don't even worry about the linebacker at that point. The second he flows over the top, then pick him. Like you said, you as a tackle, you're like, I'm not coming off that block, because you know what that linebacker is going to do. When it's handed off, he's going to scrape over to the right. But yeah, I kind of talked about this on one of our last pods. A Toledo game. We saw on the last drive that we broke down against Notre Dame, there was some sloppy footwork. Arkansas State, Toledo games, those are where you want to fix this footwork. I would like to see a whole lot better effort out of the right guard and right tackle on this.
Yeah, and again, this is, learning the whole playbook is something that always can benefit the offensive line. And I didn't know this as much when I was actually playing as opposed to when I became a coach. But, if you understand the play calls and the window dressing that's going to happen here with this RPO, with this RPO, like if you know the call and you know that, hey, this is the one where Cade motions, and you got this initial seal block, and then you've got him stepping back for the RPO, and and he's reading this guy. If this guy's static, he should. I mean, I believe, unless this is a called, which again, this could be a called play where there's no real read and it's just all window dressing. But when you see all this action over here, if you're him, hang on a second. If you're him and you see all this action, you see motion, block, step back. This guy's thinking, I got to get over there and make this play. So as soon as the ball snapped, I mean, he's already cheating before the ball snapped. You see him scooching over, adjusting with Cade. So, if you're the guard, and again, this might be asking a lot, but if you really know the plays and you're these two, and you see this guy start scooching over, you can hang on this double team for an eternity and kill that guy. Because this guy, I mean, he's almost not even a factor just by formation. I mean, you really, if he scooches over about another yard, it's like it's a 5-man box. Like, I mean, he's kind of right on the verge of being really far out the box, and you just got your 4 downs. I mean, you literally have 5 guys on 5, and then you've got Trey running to the crib. So.
My only thing, too, though, is with the left tackle. Instead of always seeing him push out like that, you'd like to see him square up a little bit more. That way, if the ball does get handed off and everybody kind of gets sucked inside, you can actually keep that thing outside.
I agree. Yeah, it's, but I think PJ was good there stretching that guy out. I think he needs to, because again, like that's probably I would guess it's a 4-hole play just by how PJ's blocking him. But, if that guy for some reason slants, because that running back's reading what Paris does. So if Paris stretches, I mean, that guy's going in the B gap. If that guy for some reason they bring something off the edge or something that would make him able to hook that guy, which he probably could never do, then he's going to take it outside. But I feel like that's probably always going in the B gap just based on how it's designed. But if he hands that off, that's a 10-yard run. But again, I don't know if that is a design thing or if that RPO is dialed up to do it the way Ryan wants it and he wants to throw it. So that being said, any closing statements? We watched about 5 plays. We probably could sit here all night and do plays, but and again,
let's do it, man. Let's jump back on later, man. We'll go till the wee hours, and then we'll go till the bar closes at 2:30. We'll be hanging out the ugly tuna spoon.
What's crazy is we'll have people show up and watch it too, because people they love the X's and O stuff, and I've got more comments about Kirk and TJ's X and O breakdown than probably anything I've ever done. So it'll be real interesting to see.
Let's go to the beer stew. Let's go down to the beer stew, and we're going to break down the rest of this game tonight over some pictures. And hey, check out the scoop board later on this afternoon, man. I'm going to have a Wisconsin breakdown for you, because as Kirk will let you know, I never got to play against Wisconsin because I wasn't able to handle the bull rush. So I might even get a guest appearance from Antaj Hawthorne.
Wait, but you traveled to Camp Randall in 03, didn't you?
I did travel, yeah.
You did. See, I never got to go to Camp Randall except as a coach, so I never was out on the field, and I know you guys took that L while I was at Mirror Lake eating subs. It was great.
That was the Rob Reynolds. That was the Rob Reynolds, Jim Sorgi, squeal heard around the world.
That was Antaj Hawthorne, versus Bryce, and I thought Antaj Hawthorne was going to be a top 5 pick, and he goes in the 7th round the next year, and I was like, it was weird. Him and Erasmus James. These guys were preseason All-Americans after that game.
Yeah.
So, I'm gonna wrap this thing up and Let's get this thing cranked up. As always, TJ does a fantastic job. Stark Media, really coming on strong. Does a lot of local high school games. Does a lot of. He's going to be doing a lot more with the Scoop. We're going to be doing some line breakdowns, some of that front seven stuff you guys love. So as always, we appreciate you guys. Appreciate support. Comment. What did you like about the video? Comment. Where are you from? Shout your hometown out. I love that stuff. I love learning about where you guys are at, where you guys are consuming the media that we are putting out. But as always, we appreciate you guys so much. Leave us a like if you enjoy this content. Subscribe to the channel. We're going to keep cranking for you guys. Appreciate you, Buckeye Nation. We need a big week out of you guys. Join BuckeyeScoop.com. We're going to be doing a ton of Wisconsin breakdown stuff. We're also going to be doing a live watch party for the Browns-Steelers game on Thursday, which will be fantastic. So I'll let you know where to tune in for that. I think you guys will really enjoy the content. So with that being said, as always, thank you, Buckeye Nation, and thank you, Scoop family. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Talk to you tomorrow. Go Bucks.